Hi, this is Mike from thesubstream.com, and this is an episode of Watch This Instead for the week ending the 21st of August, 2009. We've got a lot of stuff that's been going on behind the scenes here that's got to do with the release of our new site and getting ready for all of our TIFF coverage. And so we're sorry for the past weeks where we've been light on the content, but it's going to be worth it. Trust us. Inglorious Basterds is Quentin Tarantino's second best film. So if you want to watch the man at the absolute tippy-top pinnacle of his game so far, go to zip.ca or Netflix or anywhere else and rent Pulp Fiction, the best film of the 90s and probably the best film of the past 20 years. Inglorious Basterds, however, is the best film so far in 2009. It's two coincidental stories that converge in the film's last act. The first is the story of a Parisian cinema owner who conspires to get revenge for the murder of her family at the hands of the infamous Jew hunter Hans Landa. She gets her revenge by conspiring to burn down her own cinema that's showing the premiere of a Goebbels propaganda film with all of the top brass of the Third Reich war machine locked inside. It's also the story of the Bastards, a group of Jewish-American soldiers led by mountain man Aldo the Apache Rain, played by Brad Pitt, who are dropped behind enemy lines and tasked with destroying enemy morale by engaging in a guerrilla war of terrorism, mayhem, mutilation, and murder. Both stories converge in a fiery cataclysm that at the last minutes of the film prove that Tarantino's film is something completely new and hilariously unique. And it's weird that not very many people have thought to do this before. Tarantino's film treats the Second World War as a genre rather than as a historical fact, a package of sets, locations, characters, and archetypes that can be moved around ahistorically, regardless of the actual truth of the matter, to tell any number of fantastical tales, including one in which the corpse of Hitler can be reconstituted, reanimated, and then murdered three completely different ways simultaneously as he's forced to stare into the laughing, screaming face of his victims. Realizing that this notion, the idea that the history of World War II can be rewritten for the sake of fantasy and made malleable to suit the whims of a director, is in fact a bravado act of disrespect to the dangerously dumb but deeply held idea that important movies, serious movies, good movies, movies that smart people should watch, should hew close to some level of realism or else inhabit some kind of far-flung, abstracted, symbolic realm. Tarantino's film wears its multiplicity of voices and sources and inspirations, its incoherence, its three different fonts in the title sequence, and its love of movie history and very moviness itself on its sleeve. It's alienating. It keeps pushing you away and reminding you that you're watching a movie. But at the same time, it's full of joyful, transcendent moments and scenes, lots of them. Because here's the thing, in a movie where the Nazis can be triple killed by a bunch of vengeful Jews and deep-cover, dumbass American operatives, you can do anything. All of the normal strictures of filmmaking are loosed. Anachronism becomes a virtue. If there's a song that perfectly fits the mood and tone of a scene in which a Jewish cinema owner is contemplating her own fiery, sacrificial death, and that song happens to be from the 1982 remake of the movie Cat People, and it's by Giorgio Moroder and David Bowie, stick that song in there. It's a freedom that's also used by actors like Waltz to create characters like Landa, characters that are incredibly charismatic and at the same time incredibly evil, and they meet incredibly funny, nasty ends, and it's all just joyfully cinematic. And that's the thing of this movie. That's the idea at the heart of it, the statement that absolute mastery over timing and mise-en-scène, over script writing, can be combined with an absolute anarchic freedom to include elements from spaghetti westerns and war films and songs from movies from the 80s. All of this stuff can be made up into something that's never existed before, a film that sits completely apart from everything else, even if all of its constituent parts you can find at any number of other movies throughout history. But it's not as good as Pulp Fiction, so if you want to see the best movie that he's ever made, go to zip.ca and rent that instead.